All right, up next we have Marcus talking about Slack.
What not to do.
All right, that's what we like.
So mine is basically just images and GIFs, so we're going to need both. All right. So I promised not to define DevOps, so I ended up with this, and we're going to take a walk through. Like any of us, I made a lot of bad decisions, and you're going to follow along with my iteration of it. So my name is Marcus Young. I work at Stratasan, and in a way that's going to make my CTO cringe, we do data analytics in the healthcare industry. I'm an amateur maker. That's not just a random tidbit that'll come in later. And I'm lazy. And again, that's not self-deprecating humor. That'll come in later. So real quick survey, just show of hands. Who does chatops of some sort? How many of you enjoy it or think that it could get better? Okay. Let's see how you feel now. So this is my first pass. So in Amazon, you have AMIs, and they have snapshots. And of course, deleting an AMI or deregistering one doesn't delete the snapshot. So that's an easy chat ops win, right? So we're going to delete it. It does it, throws out some gibberish, and all is well. So that's really cool because now it's going to do some stuff that maybe a junior or somebody else didn't know you have to do. So, cool. All right, what if you have multiple accounts or different regions, everything else that might tie in? So automatically, you're just going to add some flags. That's cool, still works. Obviously, that's going to scale well, right? You know your account ID. You know which region it's in, because they're not unique to regions or anything. So, obviously, that was a good idea. So let's see what happens in the real life. Whole lot of errors. This has happened so many times. That error message is not changeable. I wish I could. And so a lot of our iterations of things that are so easy, so good, got it working, cool, and then you hand it off to somebody, you're like, oh yeah, you just delete it. So my here is you don't need a man page for your Slack commands. It shouldn't be overly complicated, right? They should involve doing things the way a human would do, making inference, figuring things out, because that's what's going to happen. All right. And going back to fun, I feel like chatbots need a lot of give and take. So I like to make our bots talk to each other, just replying to each other. But this is more, if you've done a lot of chat ops and bots and stuff, it's more fun to get people involved, right? If I tell you you can delete AMIs, that's cool. That's going to be like 2 people, or just me. So instead, giving them a tool set, an easy way to deploy our chat bot, you can actually make the bot deploy itself. And you just say, bot wreck yourself. And it'll redeploy with code. So now even the people that want to make a change, want to make it do a GIF, want to do whatever, they don't have to know. They just say, bot, get the new code. So we're going to go through a fun project that I had. I did not tell my boss about this until I did it. So I took I don't know if anybody's familiar with ESP8266s. So it's basically just a little Wi-Fi chip. So what I did is I actually 3D printed a housing and a big, huge panic button. And I wired it up to that. And whenever you press that, it literally just force deploy prod. Because we have a break the glass method on all of our things. If you need to deploy, it has locks, but you can break the glass. And that went well. So I brought it in, everybody had a good time. And fun fact, the guy that came up was actually a sales guy, and he stood at my desk. He was like, hey, what's this doing? I was like, oh, stop, hang on. So that was fun, because then he got to ask questions, right? He was like, oh, this is how you guys deploy. Oh, then I could do it. And it was cool to see the give-in that sales and marketing had, because all of this has been invisible. Nobody really cared. It was cool, like, oh yeah, we deploy many times a day, but they didn't actually know what that meant or how easy it was. And then they hit a big switch, and that's actually how easy it was. So we're going to take this even farther. So at the time, there was another guy at our place that likes to make things, and he went remote, and I was really sad because he didn't get to hit the button. So obviously the thing that I did is I overcomplicated it a little bit more. So I actually hooked it up to Amazon's IoT service with another microcontroller. It was actually a Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi was listening to Eyes IoT, you send a signal, and it does it. So this is cool. So you type Hulk smash in Slack, and it will send an IoT message to the queue in Amazon, which will tell the Raspberry Pi to turn a servo to hit the switch. So you type Hulk smash, you get a GIF. I'm actually going to show you the GIF because I love it. And then you get a GIF back. It'll actually record what happened and send it back to you. So here's that GIF in all its glory. And here's the GIF of what it'll send you back in Slack. I have a 4-year-old. It was easy to find a Hulk hand. So now all that complication, and it was more fun because, again, it shows how easy it is to tie all these things together. They don't know anything about Amazon, and they got to see this intro. And so here's one last one. We set locks. And so anybody can lock, including CEO, marketing. So that's actually our CEO saying, can we do not deploy? And then somebody else says, okay, lock it. And then 5 minutes later, of course, somebody wants to deploy, and it keeps them out. But that's our way of invoking communication, right? Why do we not need to deploy prod? Can I lock it? I don't want you to deploy, that kind of stuff. And so the key takeaways I want you to have from this talk is it should be easy to deploy. It should promote conversation, be fun, get people to ask why and buy in. Because if they're not buying in, it's just an app that you wrote, that you use, and that's no different than having a script that you run on some box. And it should also be the source of truth. I think it should incorporate the rules and tool sets that you use to document you so that when you're gone, nobody else needs to know what things need to happen, right? You have this guy that's your little clone that you can do. It should not be hard to change. It should not discourage use, right? It shouldn't be overly complicated that it needs a man page. Nobody knows how to run it because that's no different. You haven't solved anything. And those two go together. And that's it. And I didn't realize we can't do questions, so no questions.